Hello, I'm Pamela Davis. Welcome to episode 158 of the Well Done Life podcast. Hello, and welcome back to episode 158 of the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis. If you are new here, hey, how are you? Welcome. I am so glad that you are here with me this week. If you've been here before, you guys know the deal. I love you deep. Thank you so much for continuing to support me. I definitely couldn't do this without you, and I truly appreciate having you on the journey. Before we get started with this week's episode, it's really important to me that I lay a proper foundation. I know I probably sound like a broken record to a few of you guys who have been here for a long time, but it's really important to me that before we start talking about different topics, I make sure that I let a foundation be laid for what we do here in this space, what this space is all about, because I want to make sure that you know that you're in the right spot. And so essentially, the Well Done Life podcast is a podcast, a brand that I created for women. I created this space for us because I think that women are the foundation of society. I feel like we need places and spaces to be our most authentic selves. And so I like to make sure that I am building this space, this house on two very important tenets, and that is clarity and love. Clarity is really straightforward. I just want to make sure that you understand that the Well Done Life podcast is a podcast, like I said, created for women, that where we can be our most authentic selves, where we can learn, share, grow, cry, laugh, do all the things together, because I believe that we all can win and learn from each other just through the power of conversation and sharing our stories. And then on top of that, my favorite tenet is just right there, right next to clarity, and that is love. And I believe love is the thing. I think we need to just express love more, and everything that we do in this space will be rooted in love. So with that, I like to make sure that I send you prayers every week before we get started. I want to send you prayers this week, definitely of peace. I'm trying to figure out if I am at peace or not. I feel like I am, but my peace has definitely been tested. It has been a very strong week of adulting, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I'm definitely praying for each of you that you are at peace in your soul. Yes, there's going to be things that we are coming up against, but I am praying that whatever you're coming up against, you know that you are equipped to handle it. You know that you are supported and loved on this journey. There is nothing that you can't accomplish. So you need to make sure that you are peaceful in your spirit, in your soul, as you are going through the daily things that we face in life with the understanding of who you are, who you belong to, and just know that even though it may feel like you're not able to overcome it, you can overcome it. You will overcome it, and you are overcoming it already. So that is why I'm sending you prayers of peace. On top of that, I want to make sure that I send you prayers of love. You know, like I talked about, love is one of my favorite things, and love is one of the main things that we do in this space. So I like to make sure that I send you prayers of love. And with those prayers of love, I want you to have love from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. I want you to be rooted in reciprocal love, because reciprocal love is so important. And it's not just about relationships. I'm talking about in your friendships. I want you to have nourishing relationships with people, because life is challenging enough, and you don't want to be surrounded by people who don't get you or don't support you and don't encourage you and don't correct you. You know, it's just all about having people who have your best interest at heart. And there are plenty of good people out in the world. Make sure that you love the people in your life who are like sunshine. Those people are rare and very far and few between. Don't be hesitant about sharing how you feel with other people. Tomorrow is not promised to any of us, so don't ever hold back. Be your most authentic self. The crew that you have, the tight people, the people who get you, understand you, and love you, they will support you, being as loving and open as you can be, and they will protect you and nourish you. So make sure you are surrounded in many, many loving spaces, because you deserve it, and I am definitely praying that for you. I'm also praying for you that you have rest. Like I said, it's just been kind of a time, and I'm trying to figure out if I'm at peace, and I'm definitely in need of some rest. I'm definitely going to get some too, but I'm praying that you get some, because we cannot operate at our best when we are not rested. I mean, when you're resting, and I talked about it previously before, it gives you an opportunity to regulate your body. It gives you an opportunity to regulate your mind and your spirit. It is so important that you are in balance, because we cannot make the best decisions for anything when we are out of alignment. And so if you are operating and making decisions from a place of lack, from a place of unrest, it is very possible that you could be, perceiving situations, places, or people in ways that they may not be presenting in actually. It's just because you are not giving yourself proper time and space to be able to relax and rest and sleep and just recharge. So I am praying that you have moments like that this week, because they are super important. And also, I am definitely praying for you all to have abundance. That's always one of the prayers that I truly love to give people, because I truly believe there is enough out here for all of us. And I definitely am always going to wish you financial abundance, but I want you to have abundance in your soul and your spirit, because we are working hard. We are out here doing a lot. We have a lot on our plates and a lot of responsibilities that we are trying to navigate. And during some very different times, make sure that you are abundant in your spirit and soul. Take advantage of moments where you can do things that make you just smile, and that can create a memory that you can glean back into outside of just, obviously things of a material nature, because abundance in your spirit, in your soul, is going to pay far more than, believe me, all the things that we are out here working to get. And don't get me wrong, I like that nice stuff too. But the fanciness of it wears off, and then you need more. And that's what creates such a desire for consumption. But when you have an abundance in your spirit, it's more so about the memories that you created, the moments, the little things. And those things are priceless. Those are the things that you're going to remember a lot longer than the latest thing that you bought. So just make sure you're creating space for that. Like I said, definitely not poo-pooing it, because I like nice stuff. The people who know me know I do I'm a little bit of a bougie girl, but at the same time, I also value the small things. And those moments that you're making, those abundant moments that you're making, 9 times out of 10, you're always surrounded with people that you love. And it creates something beautiful. And I just want you guys to have as many beautiful things as you possibly can have. So those are my prayers for you this week. I hope you are blessed and feeling abundant. I am recording on Friday, July 14th at 8:52 p.m. And it has been a week, y'all. I have to admit, it has been a week. I am emotionally drained. And I feel like I have been just doing way too much adulting, but I definitely am really glad to be here. Talking to you all just kind of helps level set me. Before we dive into this week's topic, I really want to say thank you so much to my guest from last week and everyone's support of her episode, Brandy Walker. She is light. I am light. And we had a really great conversation about her journey, about finding our lights. And she's an amazing lady. And I hope that you get a chance to check out the episode. If you have not, I will make sure that it is linked in the show notes, because it is definitely one I think that you should check out. But like I said, this week I'm here. We got a new episode. I'm rolling solo dolo. Yes, it is just me today. And like I said, I am overwhelmed. I am super overwhelmed. I have been doing adulting level 10. Actually, I think I might have actually unlocked Jumanji level adulting. This week, again, it's dangerous. When the Jumanji level adulting starts to kick in, that's where we start to face the shifts in our family dynamics, our work dynamics. It's just like everything is happening all at once. And remember, well, I might be dating myself. Back in the day, they used to have the Calgon Take Me Away commercials. That's what I was feeling like this week. And if you don't know what Calgon is, because Lord, I know not everybody is at their golden renaissance like me with 50. And yes, my hands are up. Calgon was just like this bath salts that you could put like in your bath. I think it was like bath salt. I think it was like, it was also like a bubble bath too. And they used to have these really kind of commercials of women just overwhelmed with life and talking about Calgon, take me away. I was definitely having one of those Calgon moments this week. I have definitely said that numerous times. I actually sat up today and was like, why am I doing this again? I literally was questioning why I'm working. I was just like, I really am. But then I had to remind myself that I do like a roof over my head and nice stuff. So, and I had to take care of my family and I like to travel. You sometimes you have to like chin check yourself with the realities of why you're actually working. And so that's what I had to do. But like I said, I have been doing some Jumanji level adulting because I've had some changes at work. And it's not bad things. I'm very blessed by that. But my company that I work for, they got acquired by a brand new company, and it just like happened at like warp speed. And it's not something that I haven't gone through before, because I'm not going to pretend and say uh, as a golden renaissance woman in her 50s, I have seen this happen before. And so one of the things that has kind of helped me, and one of the things I kind of want to talk about, is just like, it's amazing to me how sometimes, you're going through life and you're, doing the work. We're all on the healing journey and doing everything that we need to do, right? And life just comes back up and just goes boop, kicks you in the face and says, all right, then let's see how all those lessons that you've learned in the past have prepared you for this new challenge that I'm about to present to you. And the reason I say that is because, like I said, I've been through the challenges of being acquired by another corporation. And totally, I don't feel at this point in the situation that I'm in like I'm in jeopardy. I don't. I feel really comfortable with what things are going on, still unclear about some things. And so I'm kind of leaning into the 4 agreements, actually the 5th one by Don Miguel Ruiz, because y'all know me. I'm always going to throw the 4 agreements in, because that book, I'm telling y'all, that book is always relatable. But there is a 5th agreement, y'all. And the 5th agreement is about it's okay to be skeptical. So your girl is really leaning into skepticism right now. And it's not skepticism in to say that I don't believe in everything, that I don't think that this is going to work out. It's just I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm just trying to see how everything is going to land out. And so I personally, being the A-type personality that I am, try to lean into, okay, well, what's my next move? And trying to see 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. And sometimes in moments like this, it's like you have to surrender and realize, nah, sis, you might be able to see 1 step ahead at this point, and you have to lean into the unknown. But like I was saying, when you're in the season of life and you think things are going well and just continuously progressing, and you wind up getting kind of pop back in the face and recognize that, okay, you're back here again. Let's see what you really learned. It's a moment for you to kind of lean into thinking like, okay, I'm back here again. How am I going to handle this situation now? Especially in a season where, you know what, I'm not going to be able to see 5 steps ahead. I'm only going to be able to probably see 1, and I need to sit and surrender. And a lot of times that's really hard, because I know I can't be the only person who's been through this. It's like, you've moved to a new role, or even if you're in your own existing company and role for a long period of time, you get comfortable. And not that I've gotten comfortable, because I've only been in my new position for like a year. Per se, I can't say that I'm comfortable, because I don't think I will ever again have the level of comfort, or as I like to say, level, complacency and mediocrity that I had previously in my old role. Is just that I kind of started to understand where I was, how things got done, and how I could move through. And now it's like rug has been pulled from under me, and I've got to decide how I'm going to move. I've got to pivot. And again, that's even another reason why I wanted to talk about it this week, because like I told you guys before, I feel like in this season, I'm encountering a lot of people like myself. We're in this season of resetting. And so I feel like this is an opportunity that God is saying it's a reset moment for you. And so in the reset, it's funny that a lot of the things that you faced are going to come back sometimes. And if we think about it, even from a biblical standpoint, a lot of times what they'll say in church and when you are about to move to your next level, when God is about to bring you closer to the things that you've been praying and dreaming for, sometimes it's like you will feel like you are about to pass out, like the whole dynamic will change and it feels like it gets dark and uncomfortable. And you have to figure out how you're going to move through the darkness because now you were comfortable. You thought you had it worked out, and in actuality, you don't. And so all of these things I'm saying are kind of reminding me to remind you while we are in this reset, while we are in this season of trying to figure out our next moves, and we might get rocked by life because, life is going to life. There are a few things that we need to remember because many times the journey, the thing that we're facing, the thing that is rocking us, we have faced before. And so let me kind of repeat that again. Many times on the journey, many times the things that we are facing right now in this season of resetting where we think everything was cool and Gucci, and then all of a sudden the rug gets pulled from under us because life is lifing. A lot of the things that are going to make us feel like we're not going to make it to the next level, that's not going to allow us to elevate, we have faced before. So in that fact that we have faced these things before becomes a point where we have to kind of get still. Yes, in this moment of movement, in this season of reset, we have to get still. And when we get still, in that stillness, we need to give ourselves the opportunity to sit in surrender. And so the first thing to do, or the first thing I know that I did when I found out about this change that I'm going through at work, and like I said, it was like light speed, quick, is I had to walk away for a moment and pray. I did. I literally was sitting at my desk and all of a sudden things just started happening. Emails started popping off. And I was just like, what? And chats and all kinds of things. And as I started to get more and more insight, I just had to walk away and pray. So I'm saying that first and foremost, the one thing to do is to get quiet, get stillness, and to pray, because a lot of times when things come at us instantly, we feel like we have to react. And I think a lot of times we need to give ourselves permission to not, to actually be quiet, to go against our norm. Because again, I like myself, I'm a type A personality, go against our norm to speak, but actually be quiet. And in that moment of quiet, give yourself time to regulate your thoughts and give yourself time to regulate your heart. That's why for myself, I leaned into prayer. I stepped away for a moment, just full transparency, because it's not like I'm walking around the corner or anything. I work at home. I stepped into like the downstairs bathroom and I just literally said the 37th Psalm really quick. And for those of you guys, who've been listening before, the 37th Psalm is one of my favorite Psalms. I say it every morning with my sister. It is a Psalm of protection. And in that protection, it also reminds me to surrender. And I'll make sure that I link it in the show notes for those of you that may be looking. It is one of, to me, the most beautiful Psalms. It has given me strength in times where I feel uncertain, where I feel frustrated, where I feel afraid. That is what I lean into. And even taking it a step further to show you the power of it, I know, and I don't really tell many people this, but when I first found out that my dad had passed away, and I wasn't like, nobody would tell me, but I knew I wasn't home. And like I've told y'all before, like my life changed in a matter of 3 hours, because I had to drive from Orlando back to Fort Lauderdale. And that night, all I did was the entire 3 hours was recite the 37th Psalm. And I also said, God doesn't make mistakes, because in that moment, I had to lean into God. I had to lean in. I had to surrender. I just was like, I need some relief. So in that season, that's what it does for me. And I have carried that on through. And the 37th Psalm has been in my life for a while, but I just, again, in that season, in that moment of pure despair, that is where I went instantly. And so I say that to say, not that you may have to have the 37th Psalm, but at least have some format, base, center, be it whatever aligns with you, God itself, to tap in, because you need it in that moment, because you're shocked and you don't want to instantly react, because we all know a lot of times when we react without thinking, we say things that probably don't need to be said, and we don't give ourselves the opportunity to sit and listen, because that's the second thing. When you have prayed and given it and surrendered, the next thing that you need to do in moments like this is you need to be able to listen. You need to be able to just open up and hear, because people will tell you what you need to know at that particular point in time if you are able to listen and hear clearly. And the reason I bring that up is also because a lot of times when we are shocked in those situations, it's hard for us to listen, because our mind is projecting what we think we need, what we think we want to hear, what we think we need to know in that moment. But to have that kind of control and power over yourself, to be able to say, okay, I need to regulate my mind, I need to regulate my body, I need to regulate my spirit so that I can clearly hear what is happening, what is going on, that is going to set you up for a trajectory of peace. Because that's ultimately what this is about. Because in many of these situations that we're facing, these Jumanji level adulting events that we are facing, we need to try to glean into some peace, because there's not really a lot of impact that we're going to be able to have. Let's be honest, there's really not. And so it's not like you can cuss, you can fuss, you can cry, you can do all those things to do. But when some of these Jumanji level life events start to happen, there is absolutely nothing that you can do to change that situation in the moment. So the best thing that you can do is try to regulate yourself so that you can have peace, that you can listen clearly and surrender to what is happening around you. And I'm not saying that you're going to wind up surrendering forever. There's going to be moments where you're going to have to take action. There will be times where you are called upon to do things, say things, and get clear. But you, in these instantaneous situations, need to be able to sit quiet enough so that you can kind of get a sense of how things are going to go, listen for what is being said around you, and then you can act accordingly. And like I said, a lot of times that doesn't happen. We're so running off of emotion and adrenaline. And a lot of times when I think about these events, especially when I relate it into corporate structures, they occur, to me, the better ones, and this is probably a controversial way to say it, to me, these better events happen like on a Friday. And the reason I say that it's better that it happens on a Friday, because at least you have an opportunity on Saturday and Sunday to regulate yourself. Now, a lot of other people say, well, if it happens on a Friday, you're thinking about it over the weekend, you have more time to stew. And you do, you really do. But that is a choice of how you are deciding to approach the situation. Because at this level of life that we're doing, I'm going to be quite frank, not many of us should be giving anything the power and control over us to allow our emotions to be from a place of anger or extreme sadness. We really shouldn't, because all we're doing, especially as it relates to corporate situations, it's like, why are you doing that to yourself? Because ultimately it's either one or two things. And this is the hardest thing about when, these acquisitions, these situations happens, layoffs, whatever. Somebody got let go. It was either you or someone that you knew, or maybe even someone that you didn't know, and you're going to feel empathetic toward that person. Or if yourself, if it's you, you're going to be upset, you're going to be sad, and you deserve that moment to process your emotions, however that looks for you and however time that looks for you. But for anyone that actually has an opportunity where it wasn't you, where you get an opportunity to continue going in that, you do have an opportunity, obviously, to feel your emotions, and you should feel what you feel and give yourself time process. But then there's also comes the flip where you realize that when the next workday comes, probably on Monday, you need to come in there prepared to move forward. Because as someone told me this week, in many corporate structures, or actually as they reminded me, corporate structures are not democracies. Obviously, you can have your opinions, you can feel what you feel and express it, and it's valued insight. And people want your insight. But when it comes down to it and it's time to move forward and make decisions, they want you to move forward. And you have to be ready to move forward. So it's kind of, to me, always good that a lot of these situations happen on Saturdays and on Fridays, because then you could take Saturday and Sunday to feel what you need to feel. But then when Monday morning comes around, you go in there ready to move forward. And you're not 100% ready. So let me not make it seem like, oh, everybody is all hunky dory. We're moving forward as one solid unit. No, there's still going to be emotion. There's still going to be feeling, especially because, survivor's remorse is real. As for those who in layoff situations, you do feel guilty a little bit that maybe people that you knew who are good people are not with the company anymore. And the best thing that you can do is obviously pray for them and try to help them as a resource and move forward. But then for those of us that, who've been in the situation where maybe it didn't work out and you got let go and you lost your position, Monday, you really need to kind of figure out, where you're at. And it doesn't mean that you got to jump back in the rat race of it all. It doesn't, because maybe you have some time, maybe you have some money and some structure set out where you can take a breath. Or if you don't, that means that you have to move forward. And because you know that you got bills and obligations and you got to do what you got to do and get back out there. So it's kind of like realizing that you got to shake it off, but it's hard to shake it off because that's what we have to do at this level of life that we're doing. And that's why I said, sometimes when these Jumanji level events come in, it's just like, okay, how am I going to make it through? How am I going to really survive? And it rocks you to the core. But to me, it reminds you, especially for those of us that are blessed to continue on in these corporate level events, how blessed we are and how you've got to move forward. And how also don't ever forget that the game is the game. And you have to be willing to play it to the best of your abilities. And when I say that, it's just, showing up and being present and recognizing that, yes, you can feel what you need to feel, but you need to make adjustments based upon how you want to move forward in this new environment, this new culture, this new company. And like I said, I really, for myself, I'm very cautiously optimistic. I mean, my new company sounds amazing. They have good benefits and all these things. And I'm very excited. It's just, definitely has made me think about, where I want my path to be. How does it align within this new structure? What am I going to do? Like I was telling a friend of mine, I'm 50, it's a whole different ball game at this level because yes, I don't mind. I love the hustle. I have the hustle within me, but at the same time, I'm probably going to feel a lot different about the hustle at 60 than I feel right now at 50. So I need to be strategic. This is about chess, not checkers. You know what I mean? So it's just, again, looking at where level of life that you're in and making decisions accordingly. And I'm not really just trying to make this all about corporate structures and stuff like that, because Jumanji level events are not just corporate structures. Jumanji level events to me are you're adulting at like peak levels. When you start dealing with deaths, job changes, housing changes, all of these things that we have to do, you are peak adulting because nobody prepares you for these situations. So a lot of times you've got to glean into either somebody else's experience, unfortunately, maybe in the role of death, previous experience, or even like in the role of, being your company be acquired or losing your job or all these things, prior experiences. So like I said, I've been here before. I've seen it, prior experiences. So I had to sit and lean after I prayed and got myself together and thought about the fact, I've been here before. So how do I want to move forward? And that reminded me about, again, how your prior experiences always come back. And so we need to make sure that we really don't get too comfortable in the fact that we have obviously moved forward from what we've moved through, what we've been through before, that we forget where we came from. I really had to remember. I sat up there and I thought about it. I was like, wow, I have been through this like a couple of times, and I've seen companies do it so many different ways. And I have to admit, even though this moved at light speed, it seems like it's one of the most organized acquisitions I've ever seen. And it seems like the company is trying to, help employees feel comfortable in the fact that there's a place for you. And that's definitely something that a lot of times in my prior experiences, I didn't feel. But it did also wake up in me the reminder to, make sure that I am developing my skill sets along the paths that I want to take. and maybe get a little bit clearer about the path that I want to take. I had a plan. I had a different an opportunity that I wanted to move toward because, like I said, I'm ready. I'm being strategic. I'm not playing about me for these next 10 years. I'm doing everything I want to do and I'm going for what I want. And that is not just something that I would recommend anyone do because you're 50 plus. I would recommend that you do that regardless. You need to get to a point in yourself that you stop playing with who you are and you get very strategic and specific about where you want to move in these roles or in the companies that you want to build, in your goals, because time is not guaranteed to any of us. And so we have to value everything that we have. And then at the same time, you've got to remember what you've been through before, because what you've been through before, it humbled you back then, but it'll keep you humble right now. It will, because I literally sat through and I was like, okay, yep, I've been back before. I've been broke before. I've been through all these things before and I made it. And if I have to do it again, I'll do it again, but I'll make sure this time I'm smarter about it. So make sure that if you are going through Jumanji level life adulting situations and you're leaning back on situations because unfortunately you've maybe experienced the same situation before, you know people who've gone through it, make sure you are taking note. Make sure that you are going back through the cliff notes of everything that you learned. Don't get so haughty that you forget that you have been through this before, that if you had to go through it again, you will survive again, and that you are strong. And don't get haughty and think, oh, I got this. It's so easy. No, 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 no. Take these moments to humble you, to remember that the grinding, the work that you did to survive it the first time has not been lost on you. You remember everything that you experienced and that you are going to apply these lessons in the season that you're in. Because when you do that, it also extends you an opportunity to give yourself grace. It takes some of the pressure off too, because you start to feel overwhelmed, lost in all of these changes that you are going through all at once. And so you have to remember who you are. And that's also why those previous experiences come up, because if God didn't let you flounder then, if he let you go through, yes, you may have had to work super, super hard, but he helped you get through. Don't you think he'll do it again? And that'll help you. That'll help you stay positive in the seasons where it feels real negative. That'll help you keep your attitude in check, because you have to. You have to make sure that you are speaking over yourself in a positive way, that you are giving yourself grace and space when it feels like you're about to pass out, like you are not going to make it through. And you have to lean into your strength, lean into your faith to help you so that you can remember who you are and that this is temporary. Because a lot of times situations like this will happen and it'll feel like it's forever and it's only seasonal. And the only reason that you can't tell it's not seasonal is because unfortunately you're so mired down by all the tasks, all the pain, all the struggles of the situation that you are not able to see clearly. That is why in seasons like this also, it is super important to rest and the reset. Yes, the pivot. It is so important to rest, because you are operating at a whole new level. You are operating on emotions. You are operating on faith. You are operating on strength. You're trying to do all these things. You still need to prioritize rest. You need to prioritize moments where you are still in it so that you can, in that stillness, find and listen and hear the answers that you need to make your steps as you're moving forward. Because it may take some time to move through. It may. I mean, like, I would love to tell y'all, like, hey, I've, totally figured out this transition. I'm like, we're a weekend now, and not even really a full week. I mean, I think now it's like officially like day 4. And, I know more, but I don't know everything. Still, like I said, a little skeptical, but it's not a bad thing. I'm very optimistic about the future, and I'm open, and I'm staying open, but I'm also going to make sure this weekend, especially, that I give myself some time to rest, because it's definitely pulling on me. It's definitely, making me step up my game, do a little bit more learning, do a little bit more traveling, because I need to be present more. I'm doing what I feel like I need to do to obviously be visible and take care of my career, but just to kind of keep me aligned. But at the same time, I'm still factoring in grace, still factoring in rest. So please make sure you factor in rest, because a lot of times when we are going through these situations, we just continue to move. We continue to stay busy because we feel like it helps our mind not be preoccupied. And that is very true. But at the same time, you still need to actually have moments where you can feel, where you can process, where you can think, so that you can move and control your emotions, but also think clearly about your goals and your expectations and how you want to move through your next level. So, those are just a couple of points that I just wanted to share. Like I said, it's not just a work thing. These are things that we go through in life all the time. We are going to have these Calgon take us away kind of moments, but we have to remember, have we been here before? And if we've been here before and we survived before, don't we think we'll survive again? And so why would we allow ourselves to be caught up in a cycle of emotion when this ain't new? And it's okay to feel what you feel right now, but that means that we need to harness that energy in another direction, harness that energy to help us move forward, So I just kind of wanted to, like I said, jump on, share that bit of life with you. It definitely, is something that I just saw so much alignment with this season of pivoting and resetting that a lot of us are in. Because I can tell y'all that was not on my bingo card this year for my company to get acquired. But I'm okay. I mean, I'm making it through. I'm leaning back on my prior experiences, and I'm leaning back in my faith to help me remember who I am. And so I wanted to make sure that I reminded you guys of that too, because I'm quite confident I'm not the only person out here going through these Jumanji Level adulting events. And I think you just sometimes need somebody to tell you, and remind you, you've been here before, boo. You've been here before. And even if you haven't been here before, someone who may have, and they can help guide you and give you strength and insight. And it doesn't mean that you have to follow everybody's walk. You don't have to follow my walk. Just know that you're not alone, though, because that's the key too. You have to make sure that you remember that you're not going through this alone. So don't set yourself up to take on the world when you only need to take on a small portion. You know what I mean? You only need to worry about what's going on, and you really don't need to worry about it. You just need to understand that you can get through. So lean into yourself, lean into your faith, give yourself grace, give yourself rest, and peace will find you. And it'll all work out in the end. It does. It all shakes out. The stories come through, but just don't hold on to it too long and allow it to drive you crazy. Reach out, let folks help you, because that's what seasons like this are for. We're all going through it together. So I know that that's kind of like a shorter episode this week, but again, I don't dial stuff into y'all, you guys know. And I just wanted to come on and be honest about where I am in this season of resetting. I'm right there with you. The universe is universing, the life is lifing, but God is still faithful. And I'm still blessed, and I'm still grateful. And so I hope that you are in a season of gratitude as well, no matter what you're going through. And I am sending you so many prayers, so much love, and so much hope, because I truly know you will overcome this season. Just stay faithful. Don't give up on you. God hasn't. So don't you do it either. So that's my episode this week. I know it's a little bit of shorty, but I'll be back next week. I'm really excited. We have a guest coming. I cannot wait to talk with her. I'm totally going to keep her under wraps until next week, but she's good, y'all. It's going to be good. And I definitely hope that you get some rest this week. I am definitely sending out all the love, all the blessings. I want to thank you guys for just being my accountability. Thank you for being my strength. If you need anything, you guys know where to hit me up. You can find me on Instagram at the Well Done Life Podcast, or on Pamela at Pamela L. Davis. I'm also on Threads at the same too. I don't know how many of y'all are threaders. I'm not the best threader right now because this life has got me in a chokehold, but I'm definitely trying to peek in where I can. But if you're on the Threads, hit me up. I would definitely love to. It's a good, clear, healthy, positive space. Let's keep it full of love there. But again, don't hesitate to reach out or email me at thewelldonelife@gmail.com. I have so much to say, so many things that are coming. This resetting season, this pivoting season is definitely going to bring out great things for us all. I really appreciate you guys listening this week and your support. I will talk to you guys next week. Take care of yourselves and each other, and we will talk soon. Bye.